Ron from Rohde Law, and in this video we're going to talk about how to hire a listing broker. So investment sales, listing broker, find out more. Ron from Rohde Law, and in this video we're going to talk about a set of good questions and different approaches to hiring a listing broker. How do you tell all these guys apart? I mean, literally, you go down their websites, JLL, CBRE, Matthews, they all look the same. They all do the same hobbies and they come from the same schools, and I think a lot of them have the same pitch. So for you as a property owner, how do you distinguish between brokers? Well, in this video, I'm just going to go through a series of questions. I'm a commercial property owner and I've had to hire a listing broker myself. So I've actually gone through these things, and this was how I made my decision, especially for somebody like me that has contacts with dozens, I don't know about hundreds, but dozens of listing brokers that are all my friends and people that I know in the business. So let's get started. First, you have to set out your goals. Every seller has different goals, and those can be speed, those can be ease of transaction, that can be hard money down on day one, certainty of close, off market, on market, and then just maximum dollar over the next 6 months, that sort of thing, or a year. And those are all very different goals. So the first step is to figure out what are your own goals in selling this property, right? What, are you trying to get maximum dollar over the next 24 months? That might have a different approach versus I want to sell this thing in 6 months, no hassle. Maybe that means off market. So after that, you've narrowed down the property type and you figure out your goals. What is your specialty? I would just go online and, it's very easy to start Googling different brokers based on the asset type. So industrial, multifamily experts, retail, office, whatever you're selling, find a list of those top brokers in the area, reach out to all of them. And what I recommend, and if you watch my other videos, I talk about this, to create a standard list of documents. It's really important to be able to compare answers directly based on the same questions that you've asked each broker, because otherwise you can unfairly penalize one broker if they didn't get the same question, then they answer it differently, and then that's really not producing good data for you as the owner. So now you've made this list of the top brokers, the most popular ones. Now you want to look at some of their recent transactions and you want to find somebody that's the right size. So that's what this topic is. Find the right size. If you're selling a $15 million multifamily property, it doesn't necessarily make sense to find the broker that's been selling $200 million properties, $250 million properties, because their buyer pool is different, their expectations, their experience in working with the client, those are all going to be very different when you're at that 200 plus range versus you at a $15 million. They may tell you they want the business, they may tell you that they can find a buyer, but I'll tell you, they're not as motivated. They're not as set up to deal with the kinds of buyers at that price point and for that property type. To be completely candid, at higher price points, the smaller dollar amounts mean less. And so that broker might come to you and say, oh, your grass looks really bad. You need to rip that up and resod it before we go to market and take pictures. And you as an owner say, that's going to cost $100,000. That's going to cost $50,000. I don't necessarily want to spend that much money just prior to listing. I don't think it's going to produce an ROI. But for different properties, it's a smaller percentage, and their mentality and their mindsets are all different. So find the right size, just like Goldilocks. You don't want somebody too big. You don't want somebody too small. Find somebody who's just right, maybe slightly higher than your price point, so they can find that bigger buyer that will pay for you. Also, what's their plan? What's their timing, and what's their commitment to you? A lot of the brokers will try to get exclusive listing lockups for 12 months, 18 months, I don't think that that's necessarily reasonable. Again, depends on your asset type. It depends on the occupancy, the types of tenants that you have, and the quality of the net income, how long you've had it. But in general, you really want to just understand, and I wouldn't advocate signing for anything really longer than 6 months unless you have a tenant or a net operating income improvement, because a lot can change in 6 months. You may change your mind. You may want to own or finance it. You may want to sell to a tenant. whatever happens. 6 months, it really should be enough that if you've prepped this property, you should only need 6 months of exclusive period. So that's my advice, 6 months. Any brokers out there that want to complain, drop in the comment, and I'd love to hear what your argument is for needing a longer period than 6 months to sell a property. So what's the best combo? You know, I think that this is really an interesting case where you want to get pitched by the broker, right? You want somebody who's senior, somebody who knows what they're doing, and they've done a lot of deals. They have a lot of those high-level connections. But I also want to ask the questions of, who's my associate? Who's my junior level partner on the deal? Who's somebody less senior? To me, that's the person who's actually going to get the deal done. They're going to be calling everybody. They're going to be reaching out. But you want that tandem. You want this really nice 1-2 combination of senior experience versus somebody who's going to work the phones and really bend over backward to make sure the deal gets done. So that's my advice. And a lot of people just talk to the high level broker and they don't ask. They don't ask to go down to that level. But I think it's really key to establishing maybe a deeper relationship with both the firm as well as, you know, that junior partner, is talking to them, wanting to talk to them, and not just the high level name. Now that you've asked those questions, you should really get a sense of how much they value your business. You know, if you watch my other videos, I also have this sign off, which is play long-term games with long-term people. And really, you know, I think it's very hard to establish a long-term relationship if you're not selling a ton of buildings. You know, I think you need to sell one building every 2 years, every 3 years to stay fresh and stay relevant. Hopefully those are the same asset type, but really try to emphasize that you're in this game, you're in this industry for a long term, and they're going to understand that there's future business to be made with you. You have other properties, and when those come up, they want to sell with you. And for the same on the broker, you know, you can really provide value. They want to provide a good service on this kind of trial run. But really, I think stressing that you're willing and open for looking for a long-term relationship is really key. So play long-term games, make a standardized list, you know, interview as many people as you can, get their opinions on pricing, timing, whether you need to do any improvements to the property, just visually, aesthetically, what their marketing would look like, if they can sell this off market. Those are all standard questions. Just put them in a spreadsheet, fire away, and good luck with selling your commercial property in 2022. Smash that like button, and we'll see you next time.